UAE residents use about 110 gallons of water on an average day, more than anywhere else in the world. Of course, this is one of the Earth's driest regions, with summer temperatures often reaching 45 degrees Celsius. Municipalities often produce campaigns urging us to conserve water. As the population rises, though, and the need increases, so does the demand for fresh, clean water. Well, as a result, the UAE has become the second largest producer of desalinated water after Saudi Arabia. With us on Inside Business today is the CEO of Aqualing, Eric Jankel. Thanks a lot for coming in today, Eric.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Well, how did an original Scandinavian company get into the desalination business here in the Gulf?
Well, that's an interesting question. Scandinavians, have this heritage of being Vikings and seeking out their fortunes in the world. Actually, Aqualing was founded in the Canary Islands when Bjorn Ling, the founder of the company, needed a desalination plant for a hotel resort that he was building there. And from that plant came the innovation in energy recovery that is our patented proprietary technology. And eventually the company was repatriated back to Norway to sell equipment. We now have new owners and a new business plan, and we're headquartered here in Dubai.
We'll talk more about this special, unique system that you use in a moment or two. But, what's your take on the amount of water that is being consumed? I just mentioned there in the introduction that the UAE, is really using too much water.
Well, it's a combination of some of the factors that you identified. It is one of the most water-scarce areas in the world. It has a booming economy. And historically, Sheikh Zayed had a very aggressive program for forestation and for farming and the traditional lifestyle and keeping people on the land. So I don't think actually the urban residents of the UAE or Dubai or Abu Dhabi are using so much more water individually, but the country is using a lot of desalinated water and more per capita than the rest of the world because of these other requirements that in other places would be supported from groundwater or surface water. The UAE has none of that virtually, so it relies on desalinated water for that consumption.
Is this actually stripping the vitamins, in a sense, out of water, if you can compare it to that? I mean, what's the difference, let's say, in quality of water coming out of a tap in Dubai and in Oslo?
That's a good question. There are natural minerals in the surface water, in the rainwater that falls that's captured by a dam and a reservoir and piped to the community. In the case of seawater desalination, the plants have a potabilization or a remineralization facility as part of the plant. And so those minerals and salts that are required for human consumption as part of our daily intake and daily diet are re-added back into the water to meet the World Health Organization standards. But these things you would find in greater abundance in surface water supplies than you will find in desalinated source water.
Now, Eric, your company specializes in reusing energy during the desalination process. How does that work?
The reverse osmosis process is pressure-driven, so it requires a fair amount of energy in the form of electricity to drive the high-pressure pump. And the way the process works at the back end, so to speak, there's still quite a bit of that energy or that pressure left when the brine is being discharged. And historically, it was just discharged to the sea, and then there was a generation of devices that had about 60% recovery. Our device has a 98% recovery, and basically it's a pressure exchange system. So the brine coming out of the back end is used to pressurize the feed water, and that then goes to the high-pressure pump, but has the effect of reducing the net energy required to make the process work. So it's a very simple and elegant way that it's actually working. It just exchanges the pressure, but it has an enormous effect in reducing the amount of electricity required to make the process work.
Now, the actual water that we're using today, is this water that's been around for hundreds of years?
Well, the Earth as an ecosystem, if you think of the Earth sitting out there in space, there is only so much water in the Earth system. It's in glaciers, it's in seawater, it's in fresh water, and the hydrologic cycle is the process of that water being used, then being disposed of, being treated, being recycled by the Earth and the natural system. So it is a closed system. There is no more water to add to the Earth cycle. And clearly population is growing, industrial demand, agricultural demand. is putting more and more stress on a fixed amount of water resources available on the planet Earth.
Where are you getting most interest from? I mean, we mentioned Saudi Arabia and the UAE being, the #1 desalination areas of the world. What other areas are you doing business in?
Well, we're doing projects actually in West Africa, in Ghana. People say Ghana, it's got lots of water, but what I was describing before is exactly the case. The cost of bringing the water from upcountry to Accra exceeds the cost of building new desalination plants closer to the users, to the people. We're doing projects in China. Northeastern China has a very terrible water crisis, and yet the economy is growing, the population are growing, and they're in desperate need for new sources of water. China will probably be the fastest growing market in the next 10 years for new installed desalination capacity. The Mediterranean basin, North Africa, Turkey, Greece, Spain has a large desalination program going on and water reuse. So it's unprecedented growth from the demand side in the desalination business these days.
Fascinating business of desalinated water. Thank you very much, Eric Jankel of Aqualink, for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Well, there we are. That's it for this edition of Inside Business. You can contact the programme, as ever, by writing to us directly at ib@city7tv.com. For now, from all of us on the business desk, goodbye and thanks for watching.